Love and light. Sorry if it gets noisy. I have a bunch of cats that are playing pretty hard right now. But so one of my viewers and who has been asking me a lot of questions just told me that they were 18, and I didn't know that prior, and I hadn't assumed that when I was answering them. So that just brought something to my attention, that when I talk here, I'm generally talking to people that are already firmly on the path. I'm not addressing third density people that much. Don't assume they're going to be listening to me. That's been my experience. They don't want to hear this stuff, or they think it's crazy. So I talk a lot of times about, the end of third density, the end of the old world, and then moving to new earth. And to me, that's not scary. And to most of us who are really on the path, it's not scary. It's blessed. It's blessed. To those of us who grew up in the old world and saw what it really was, we're not sad to see it go. But to an 18-year-old, it's a different situation. So first of all, I was a hot mess at 18. I was in prison, facing a long time. So anyone who's listening to my channel at 18, you are doing very well. If you are on the spiritual path at 18, you're doing very well. First of all, you don't need to worry about anything if you stay on the path. But I don't want this stuff to be scary, okay? Everything that's going to be taken away is going to be replaced by something new and amazing. Yes, third density souls will have to exit their physical vehicles, but it would help everyone to stop thinking about it like death. No souls are dying here, okay? Physical vehicles may die, yes, but souls will not die, and it won't feel like death. They will move from one point to another. I mean, for those who are really caught in violence and fear and hatred and all these things, it may feel like death to them until they get past that. But for all of those who are on a spiritual path, all of those who are surrendering, you're not going to meet death except death of your own ego, which is death of all that you think you are but are not. Death of all that has been programmed into you. Death of all which oppresses you. Now, that's not really death. That's liberation. So, to the young people who are listening, or to anyone listening who thoughts of the end of the world terrify you or bring fear, or you start worrying about how do I save my family and friends and all that, and you have to accept, first of all, that all souls have made their own choice. It's not a bad choice. Even if they choose to not ascend right now, it's not a bad choice. There is a reason a soul would make that choice, trust me. I'm not going to go into all that here, but there's a definitely valid reason why higher selves are choosing that. Some higher selves are choosing to move on, some are not. Okay? There's a reason for everything. But what's important to understand is that you don't need to fix anything. You can't stop what's going to happen. You can't save anyone, really. Once you're secure in yourself, and once you allow love into your heart again, once you allow love to flow out into the world from you again, then you can be a source of compassion and love and aid, and maybe you can help some. Maybe you can help light the way for some. But first you have to find the light and love within yourself before you can guide anyone and help anyone. You can't help anyone if you're confused. You can't help anyone if you're lost in the dark. So find your own way to clarity first, and that's the best service you can do for anyone. Be compassionate, but you can't fix anything here. All of this has to play out. Okay? What we have to do is accept. We have to be in acceptance, and we have to get our connection with our own spiritual team, with our own spiritual hierarchy, our angels, our guides, our higher self, and our soul family. That way, when these massive earth changes or events or plagues or whatever manifests itself as karmically out here in third density to clear the way for new earth, that way we can be in acceptance. We can understand why this is happening, and we can have an internal guidance and compass to lead us to safety. Not that we even need safety because we're eternal beings, but we will be guided where we are needed for ourselves and for others, where we need to be for ourselves and for others. And we had another question from the same 18-year-old. What about, because his neighbor has a 5-year-old child, what about the children? I said this before, all children born after 2012 will be ascending. Now that can be a little confusing, okay? Because when I say children, we're talking about the souls. So this is what we mean. All souls coming in after 2012 are already fourth density or higher. No more third density souls are coming in. So any that are 5 years old, they don't have any karma. Now, so that means all the souls that want to go to New Earth from there will go. Does that mean that every single baby born after 2012 cannot die or will go to New Earth? No, of course not, because some of those babies are being born into third density families with third density experience, with agreements, and some of them are only coming in for a short time, and then they will be going to New Earth, or they'll be going on to wherever they're going, because some of them are only coming in for compassion. Okay, so as the third density parents of any new children, we're talking about third density parents who are not going to be making to New Earth, who cannot make the ascension. Assuming that is the case, let me remind everyone, I don't know for certain that everyone's not going to New Earth. That's how it looks. That's what my guidance has shown me. That's what the prophecies have said. But that doesn't mean it's true. That doesn't mean we won't be surprised. And I've always thought that. Like, I don't know what the percentages are. I don't know if, in fact, 1/3 will be going to New Earth. Those percentages could change drastically, because they're not telling us everything. There's a lot of surprises still in store. So, but let us assume we can have third density parents who are not going to ascend, who have a child who is going to also who's going to die physically in some cataclysm or with the parents in some way. So, because clearly children are still dying, right? So not every children that is here is physically going to make it to the New Earth, that personality. The souls behind it will. But that child who's coming in, who is leaving, is most likely doing one of two things. They are either coming in as compassionate light workers, a higher density soul coming in to bring compassion and help those parents through the final change, through their transition, so that it's not quite so horrible. Or they're coming in to balance karma. They're coming in to raise the whole vibration of the planet, still, like the light workers are, because that's also happening too, because children come in much higher vibration. So, but also they may be coming in just to have a brief experience of third density before they incarnate back into New Earth, so that they have some understanding of what was here prior, So there are reasons for everything, but in general, the children will be protected. Yes. I mean, for instance, this particular question was about his neighbor who is partially awake, he said, or somewhat awake, and has a 5-year-old child, right? So I would say in that situation, most likely that 5-year-old child is a golden child, is already a higher density being, and has come into this situation to help raise the vibration of the parents, of the mom, and help her into New Earth. That's what my daughter is doing right now with her mother. That's the guidance that I received about my daughter, about my children. I had my daughter before my first awakening, right before. So it's like, it didn't occur to me at the time, but now I can see that having my daughter and being able to unconditionally love her and receiving unconditional love from her certainly probably opened the door up for my awakening, you know. So that's how it works. The children are blessed, and they teach us. The children teach us, not the other way around.